Hello guys, you're welcome to Henry Wobby's musical classes. So today we'll be discussing on the diatonic major scale. Remember in our last video I told you that the name of this scale you're playing, the re mi fa sol la ti do, the name is not the re mi fa sol la ti do. Let's hear you. There is a name for it. It is called the diatonic major scale. I repeat again, diatonic major scale. That's the name. And every scale is built on different degrees, and they go ascending and in descending order. So the ascending order of this diatonic major scale is do re mi fa sol la ti do. Then the descending is do ti la sol fa mi re do. So the descending is do ti la sol fa mi re do. So that's for the diatonic major scale. So whenever you hear the scale like while I was a beginner in music, even before I had to go into the studying of it and having conventional knowledge about it, what we normally call the diatonic major scale, it is the scale that is like touches all the major keys, and invariably that's it. It touches all the major keys while you're going up and down. So it touches the C, the D. If it's on staff now, you'll be seeing C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Then you come back to your octave C. So it touches all the tonic of the major scale, the tonic of the major scales rather. So when I mean tonic, like your do, every do, the beginning of a note like do, that's your tonic. We have the tonic, we have the third, and we have the fifth. So a tonic, or your root position, it is called the root position. So every scale most times is built from a root position. So and the diatonic major scale has a formula. It's built from a particular pattern. There is a formula for it. Every scale has their own formula how they are built. We have the scale like the chromatic scale, we have the pentatonic scale, we have the blues scale, we have a lot of scales. There are so many scales where we have different continents, different countries have some of them have their own scales. So in course of our classes we'll be learning some of those scales. Most times you see most professional players, they use some of those scales, but you don't know what they sound like, or you don't know the musical name for it. So when you have that knowledge about the scale, you can be able to pick out when they have used it. You understand? So maybe somebody's playing, sometimes playing, that person is playing the diatonic major scale, and that's the musical name and musical term for it. So it is going to be good that in your musical setting or your rehearsal, you people start by saying, all right, can we play our diatonic major scale on the key of C? Very musical, very informative, sounds so professional. Unlike, all right, can we play our do re mi fa sol la ti do now on C? So can we play our diatonic major scale on the key of C major? That's very nice, sounds musical. All right, so let's go. The scale is built on different degrees, and the formula for forming the diatonic major scale in any key is what we know as the tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone. I would want to write the short form for it. So we have T, T, S, T, 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 S. So I don't know if you captured that. T, T, S, T, T, S. So we have the first two T and S and another three T's, which is 1, 2, 3, and the last S. Now we're going to explain to know, why do we have two T's first and S, then three other T's before the last S. That's the formula information for that. So we're going to be explaining that. Now the full names for those T's: T stands for tone, S stands for semitone, and the rest. So Now, somebody that is a beginner will be wanting to know what is tone, what is semitone. Is it ringing tone you're talking about? No, sir. It's not ringing tone. Thank you. Are you talking about the tone, maybe the way I need to sound angrily? No, I'm not talking about the tone, the way you should sound. That's not what I'm talking about. Not what I'm talking about. Don't misunderstand me. I'm talking about tone, semitone. So I will explain what a tone and a semitone is. Exactly. All right. So before they join the class, I was trying to make a ladder. A ladder has to explain what I will be saying. You know, why the ladder is here is to help you climb to another level of musical understanding. Yeah, clap your hands for me. All right. So like I made a ladder and I said these people need to climb in their knowledge of music. You understand? So if as I'm explaining for them, they are climbing from one step to another. So let's join me as we climb this ladder of tone, semitone. I know you're clapping. All right. Like I said, the only thing you need to do for me in this video is to pay a fee, and that fee is to pay attention. Don't run away. Don't go and pee. It's not your time to go out, as some people used to do in classes. Time is time for explanation that will help you. You want to go and pee. Don't like it. Sit down. Let me explain. I will not come back, but I will come back because of you. So like I said, tone, semitone, tone, semitone. Now, semitone, in most persons on my research, some persons call it half step, while some say it's full step. So like I said, half step. Half step. Why for T, for tone, they call it full step or whole step. So some of you that like stepping on things, mind the kind of step you step. You can step on full step and break your leg, but pray you not break your leg. So we have half step and full step. Now what is half step? Listen so that you understand what is half step. This is a ladder. And you know a ladder, they have wood that are in different intervals. Let me use that musical term. If you don't want to fall, you always, after stepping on the first stick or wood, you need to put your leg on the next one. Is that clear? Now, you know, before the next one, there is a hole, and if you mark there, you will fall. You break your leg. That's the half step. So in climbing ladders, you must move in full step, which is you will skip the hole and put your leg in the next one. Now that hole that you're skipping is half step. When you move half step from that ladder, you feel like your leg falls inside. But in music, your leg does not fall. It still holds you. Clap for music, clap for music. So in music, your leg, you don't fall. So when you move from here to the hole, talking about the ladder, this white space, your leg does not break. You fall, your leg is on half step. But when you move from this line, from this ladder to another ladder as to hold yourself, you're moving full step. Meaning you're skipping half step to the next one. So that means from here to here is half step. Then from here to here is another half step because you're moving in half step. So that means 2 half step will give us 1 full tone. Let me explain. Let me explain now using, I know you like biscuits. I know you like biscuits. I know you like biscuits. You might not understand this one. Now let me bring food inside. Exactly. Oh, in my next class I'll bring biscuits for you. Now this is it. You have to 1 biscuit.